Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your July. I had to make sure my camera was straight for a second. Your July, wait, no, not soul session, connection session. I'm Princess India. If you're new and if you're family, welcome back, my friend and whatnot, or whatever. I'm sure you've heard if you've watched any of the connection sessions so far. My grandmother passed away last month, so I wasn't able to do you guys connection sessions for June. So I'm starting off July with them. I hope you don't mind. And the soul sessions are going to be at the midpoint of the month and whatnot or whatever. So anywho, we're going to go ahead and jump into you guys' cards. We're going to be looking at you guys as well as a person of interest and the energy between you. And then we're going into a more specific spread where we're going to be looking at your person of interest and how they think as well as feel about you. If these cards ever come out, I'm like staring at this deck like, what are we doing? I hope you've been well, Sagittarius. Any day now. Otherwise, I'm going to pick them. I'm sitting up here talking to my cards like they're human. All right. And we'll take this one. I'm going to go ahead and pick for the more specific spread. All right. So the card representing my Sagittarius, interesting, let me cover up this pin, for the month of July, we have the Devil card, that of which is Capricorn energy. So here is the dealio, Sagittarius. In the month of July, you guys could be doing a little bit of overindulgence. Just keep in mind from your friend Princess India that, too much of a good thing sometimes is not necessarily a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But it's more or less, I would say you guys are kind of, this is going to sound so corny, you guys are indulging in pleasures of the flesh, whatever that may be, Sagittarius. It doesn't necessarily have to be, like horrible, bad things or anything. But it could be, excessive eating, like not eating as healthy, eating a lot of sugar, eating a lot of sweets. It could be excessive, drinking, partying, whatever the case. And hopefully we're not speaking in reference to anything that's related to like real, addictions and things of the sort. Looking at this in the context of your person of interest is interesting. I'm picking up on a couple of things that may or may not have to do with the rest of this reading, but I'm picking it up intuitively, so I'm gonna say it. But it feels almost like for some of you guys with a person that you're dealing with, I don't know, I don't want to say the person's influencing you. I don't want to say that. It's not so much that they're influencing you per se. It may be do I want to say connection, like a connection in lifestyle almost. So I'll say it like this. If Sag like drinks socially, right? So like once every blue moon, somebody's wedding or something, you might drink. And say this person is a person who, they come home from work and they have a nightcap. Being around this particular person, I don't know if it's going to be the same person of interest, but I don't know, Sag, if you end up watching this and none of it resonates, maybe this is the only piece that's for you. But this person is a person who has like a nightcap every night after work. And now with just being around them, you're starting to drink more often. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go as far as to say like somebody who's sober has totally fallen off of the wagon with this particular person. But what I would feel on the other side of this is something that's happening between you and this person, whether that's like arguments or their behavior or something like that. And that's causing you to kind of overindulge into things because it's affecting how you think and feel about yourself. So to kind of satiate those feelings that are coming up, you're kind of going to, stuff things, substances, overindulgence, or what have you. And a very minute energy that I would feel, and this is just solely me speaking on Sagittarius energy, a very minute thing that I feel would be of a person being single. And so it's like you're not dating anyone at all. But because of like that kind of loneliness kind of feel, you're gravitating towards overindulgence and things to kind of satiate those feelings of loneliness. And I can see that on both sides. And it's like overindulging, like maybe overeating, drinking too much. But then I can also see how a person may be overly working out, or, God forbid, I just heard plastic surgery. Child, doing too much plastic surgery, I don't know. But and like that being a thing where it's trying to gain a partner, you know what I'm saying? But like doing the most with it, because like what you've done so far hasn't worked. So it's like trying to, do more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lost weight. That's not enough. Let me try to go get muscles. Like I have muscles. That didn't work. Let me try to like grow my hair out. Okay, that didn't work. Let me go get my boobs done. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of vibe. So that's a lot to come out for Sag, but let's get into your person of interest. Interesting. The card representing your person of interest, we have the Page of Wands. So something I would say interesting, first thing, your person of interest in reference to you are not their usual type. That kind of piggybacks on the thing that I was saying, where if, this person drinks every day and you're a person who, okay, sorry, that was my Alexa, but you're a person who drinks socially. This person is a person who drinks every day kind of vibe. But there's some stark difference between you and your person of interest. And as far as people, that they've dated before, there's some difference between you and this person. Another thing with this is that I would say there's a need to be a little, I don't want to necessarily say concerned. I don't want to drop a ball that soon into this, but the thing to be mindful of with this, looking at the Devil and looking at the Page of Wands, I would also say there's some level of like sexual chemistry between you and this person, and how it is that they're standing as of yet, their overall energy with it being a page. This is a very immature kind of energy, meaning that, feelings haven't necessarily deepened too much. There is the possibility, that was about to be a Freudian slip. I was going to say probability, but I meant possibility. But there could be a possibility, like when I was saying the difference. Oh gosh, ugh, not a fan. With there being a difference between the two of you, and the thing I just heard is like a nationality difference. So I hope that's not like a fetish type of thing, but stuff in that ballpark to be kind of I don't want to say weary, but to be, let's say, be cognizant of said things. So with the sexual chemistry between the two of you and there being a difference, there is the potential of this person being really drawn to you, potentially like fetishizing. I don't know how to say that word, but you know what I mean. But because there is a difference, because, just kind of how it is they're showing up overall, it's very much a physical attraction type of thing going on. Not saying that that couldn't change in the foreseeable future, but just to be mindful that that's the premise that you guys are connecting on at present. Oh yeah. So the energy between the two of you is the Page of Swords in the reverse. So there's there's a lack of clear communication between the two of you. There's also the potential where, and I see this happen a lot early on in relationships, and actually my coworker and I were talking about this earlier today, because her and I have a trauma group that we do together, but we were talking about one of the sessions in our trauma group, and how in that session we talk about the importance of when you first start dating someone, like making it very clear what the expectations are for the connection. I kind of get the vibe with this Page of Swords in the reverse that conversations such as that aren't happening. Now, putting that together with this energy I'm seeing between the Devil and the Page of Wands, there could be the potential that the two of you can be carried off and whisked away by, the sexual chemistry and all of the things, and not really necessarily grounding the partnership. I will also say that if, that's what you're looking for, because it was a sign I did prior to you guys. I feel like it was another fire sign, potentially. No, it wasn't Leo. Who did it? I don't remember who it was. But it was some sign I did. Maybe it was Capricorn. It might have been Capricorn. But anywho, but it was a sign I did before you guys where I kind of talked about something similar of, when you first meet someone and you have like that connection and that chemistry and being kind of whisked away with that. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you're desiring. Like if you're not wanting anything serious and you're cool with like, because if the two of you are like smushing whatever and you're cool with it just being that, then by all means. But if you're wanting something a little more serious than that, I feel like this would more or less be saying there's a need to kind of snap out of the, drunken love kind of feeling, and to really ground yourself and be clear on what it is that you're wanting. You know what I mean? Because there's not real conversations that are really being had between the two of you that would necessarily be leading to something. Like if you're wanting something more serious, as it stands now, there's not very clear communication. It would be something in the form of like texting, like you guys would be, and I know young folks don't really do the phone anymore, but majority of the communication between the two of you would be like texting, you know what I'm saying, or DMing each other. It wouldn't be like a lot of phone conversations or like face-to-face conversations, or even just communication solely for like linking up with each other or what have you. So I would say with that, Sagittarius, depending on what it is that you're wanting or what you're looking for, what you're expecting with this particular person, to kind of, be mindful of that, you know what I'm saying? But if you are just, looking for something for a good time and not a long time, then, and I ain't judging, But anywho, getting into our more specific spread, the first card for your person of interest in their fleeting thoughts. Interesting. We have, I need to just like censor this deck. I have two of these decks. I need to like take one and just censor it. We have the Wheel of Fortune, and I always say with this is the fixed signs. So that's Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, as well as Aquarius. The next card we have is the Strength card in the reverse. It's more Leo energy showing up. Is your person a Leo? That'd be funny if that actually was the Leo reading I was talking about. We have the Strength in the reverse. Then we have the Ace of Swords in the reverse. And then in their conscious thoughts, interesting, we have the King of Pentacles in the reverse. Whoo, child. So here is the dealio. In reference to how it is that they are perceiving you is very interesting. With this Wheel of Fortune, I would have to say this person is a tad bit egoic. Their perception of you would be that your connection with them is like a win, in so many words, right? The other thing with this is a bit concerning. With Strength in the reverse, they're seeing you in reference to them like you're like you have an insatiable desire for this person. You can't control yourself around them. Like your self-control goes out of the window when you're with this person. But at the same time, it's this thought of like almost like you seeing them as if this person is like a blessing to your life or something. It's like, like just digging into that, it's making me cringe, like literally. And I picked up on vibes like this with whatever sign is I'm talking about too. Oh God, this is making me feel very uncomfortable. Yeah, like best thing you ever encountered, this person is like a level up. Right now, this is their perception of you, mind you. Okay, now with this Ace of Swords in the reverse, they don't feel, they don't necessarily feel that there's like intellectual bond. I'll say it that way, because I feel like mental bond sounds silly, but like intellectually, not necessarily feeling that there's so much of a connection there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if I say like intellectual connection is one of those things, not necessarily like someone finishing your sentences, but, and I mean, this person could just be a dummy. Let's just be honest. So, not saying of a person who finishes your sentences, but like if you've ever had good conversation with someone, like maybe if you met a friend of a friend, or you were at a wedding, or I don't know, a networking event, or I don't know, a holiday party with your coworkers, you kind of get into a conversation and it's just like ping, 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 because everyone in the group is kind of on that same vibe, not necessarily saying that you have the same views or the same convictions, but it's just like rapid fire conversation where the people you're around are good conversationalists. So you're like on that same intellectual wavelength type of deal. It's them feeling there's a disconnect there. And I hate to say it to be mean, but it could very well be that this person, like maybe Sagittarius, you're very well read, you're very, you know, cultured, well traveled, things of the sort. You have a lot to say, lots of opinions about things, and this person really not so much, you know, but that's something that they're aware of. It could potentially be something where there's a tad bit of it could be potentially a tad bit of insecurity there. I do feel like I'm reaching a little bit for this person in that regard, but there is a disconnect there, which kind of brings me back to the energy that I'm picking up on. And I mean, again, like I said, with this page of swords in the reverse, that could be why you guys don't communicate as much, because maybe it's not the easiest thing to have a conversation with this person in reference to the things that you typically like to converse about. You know what I mean? But I would have to say my assumption would be that whoever this person is, either they're really attractive in real life, or they think that they're really attractive, or it has to be something external about them. I don't know if it's like what they do for a living, or maybe they own a business and they have money or something. I don't know. But it's something about them externally. I could probably go as even far to say, even though you're not their usual type, there could be the potential that this person may not be your usual type, or maybe, ooh, your weak spot. That's what my guides just said. They said your weak spot. So like this particular type of person, I don't want to say the traditional corny, like, oh, like bad boy, bad girl. Like, I don't want to necessarily say that, but maybe with whatever position you have in life, Sagittarius, this person being your weak spot, and this is like the type of person you may have warded off dating, and this person fits this particular category. You know what I'm saying? But whatever the case, I'm just really not the fan of their perception of you, because I'm always weirded out. I said this in the other sign too. I'm weirded out when I do this spread and I'm seeing a person have objectivity about another person and themselves. You know what I mean? Not higher awareness and self-awareness, right? But having this objectivity where they're reading the other person, right? And making judgments on that, but not just the person themselves. They're like reading and making judgments on how the other person perceives them, and that being like in their awareness every day. You know what I'm saying? Because typically, like, your thought would be, you know, like if you're in a secure space, it's like, you know, I wonder if they're interested in me, or, you know, I wonder if they like that place I took them to. Was that joke really funny? You know, or like, wow, it seems like he or she really likes me. Like, they seem like they're really into me. Like, that's typical what the thoughts will be, right? When you're interested in someone. But when a person is thinking like, oh yeah, like they're really into me, like best thing that's ever happened to them, like I'm like a gift to their life type of deal. You know what I'm saying? When a person is thinking like that, it's like, oh yeah, you know, he really dug that. Like, oh, he's eating that up. When a person is having thoughts like that, that's red flag city to me. And looking at this Wheel of Fortune and this strength in the reverse, I'm not a fan of that card combination, because it's like they're seeing themselves as up here and like, oh, and they can't control themselves when they're around me. They can't keep their hands off of me. You know what I mean? They can't stop texting my phone or whatever the case. But them also being aware of the fact that you guys are on, you know, two different levels, or there isn't so much of this like seeming bond. And that's another thing I say as a takeaway, Sag. If your perception with this person is like, oh my gosh, we click, we have so much chemistry, that's true in like a physical, like attractive sense, even like in a sexual sense, but like in a mental connection type of deal. Because of course you would want to have like the emotional connection, the mental connection, the physical connection. This person is aware that there is a disconnect there. My assumption is that it's more on their side, but that's like an afterthought to, so it's almost like them seeing it as you're overlooking it. You know what I'm saying? Like if we were to stick with the thing of saying they're not on your intellectual level, it's like this person is aware they're not on your intellectual level, and conversationally they can't keep up with you, but that's like secondary because they still are like in awe of me, can't keep their hands off of me type of deal. Now, with their conscious thoughts towards you being this King of Pentacles in the reverse, I'm not a fan of that either. And this is like consciously, like the other thoughts, these are things that they're weighing, right? Things that are kind of jetting through their mind. Their more grounded perception of you is this King of Pentacles. And I'm not necessarily a fan of that, because it's almost this perception of like, I don't want to say that colloquialism, because I don't feel like that fully describes what it is I'm trying to say here. Because the thing, I'm gonna say what it is that I don't want to say. It's like you're all talk. So almost like what it is you're giving out, or how other people would view you, is them seeing you as the contrast to that. But the arena that I'm really feeling this in is more like in the self-esteem arena. So if I were to put that together, it's more or less their perception of Sag. And I think it was this at one point in time, is just the fact that the two of you are connecting. It's kind of like if this person saw you up on a pedestal, right? And it's like, someone like Sagittarius would never give me the time of day, right? But the fact that you did give them the time of day, it shifted their perspective of you. So it's like how it is that you're seen in the world, like whether it's your education, your career, what you do for a living, whatever, like your presentation to the world is this one thing. This person's assumption of you was that, wow, you're that. But then with your interest in them, or if like, I don't know, y'all are dating, if you started sleeping with the person, their thought is like, whoa, you know, if they're dealing with me, like they're not really what it is that I thought that they were. You know what I'm saying? Or if this is something that moved pretty quick, or, and again, I have to stress how it is I do this spread. This is all this person's perception of you, is not the God honest truth, right? It's their perception of reality. So all of this could be like, you know, Sag could be like, what the hell? Like, I barely call them back. But this is all in their head of how it is that they're perceiving you in so many words. But it's their conscious thought with this King of Pentacles in the reverse is like there's some level of insecurity there for you to be dealing with them or interested in them, and, you know, them not taking away anything that you've accomplished or your successes or anything, but seeing it more or less that behind that veneer is a person who's a little insecure or desperate or lonely or whatever, you know, whatever the case may be. So that kind of shifted the perspective that they had of you prior to. So, and like I said, I don't know what it is specifically. There is some sort of difference. But like I said, I really do feel like with this person and then kind of cheating from what my guide said, there's something about this person that's like a weakness for you. If I were to really dig into that, it would say to me, because I mean, a lot of that's been coming up for a lot of signs this month, where I mean, if we were to look at it from a therapeutic standpoint, this would be like your unfinished business. You know what I'm saying? Like that archetype that everyone has based on, you know, childhood, all the things, your unfinished business with your parents, and you keep dating people that are like your parents. You have an impossible to please parent. You keep dating people that are impossible to please because you're trying to get resolution. Or, I mean, if you want to look at it as past life karma, you know what I'm saying? Your South Node acting up, like whatever the case. You know, isn't Saturn retrograde right now? Like, I don't know if you want to say it's Saturn in retrograde. I don't know. However it is that you want to classify it, I feel in some sense or another, it's whatever however this person is, it's representative of something that's been a weak spot for you before. And I mean, even if it's like fixing people, you know what I'm saying? Because that's something I see a lot of that as a therapist is a lot of times, you know, people who like have the spiritual gift of mercy. And by nature, you're just designed to want to help humanity and be a support system for people. But that ends up carrying over into your dating life. I see that happen with people who are doctors. I see that happen with people who are nurses. I see that happen with therapists. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a real thing where you end up going into a field because you have a heart to help people, but that ends up carrying over into your relationship life. And it ends up, you know, drawing you into codependent relationships where the person is almost like a project. You don't necessarily see them that way or consciously approach it that way. It's like you see a person on, you know, the struggle bus, like they're a nice person, you like them, you're attracted to them, but they're on the struggle bus and you have this insatiable desire to help them get where they're going or help them to be better. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Now, this person's subconscious impression / projection. Oh my goodness. We have the Empress in the reverse. The Empress in the reverse for me is a barren wasteland of emoting, right? Now, this is something that's true about this person in their subconscious, their perception of themselves and how they may be kind of, you know, projecting themselves to you, for lack of better words, is more or less, they're like a very nurturing person, seemingly very emotionally available. You know, they may come off as someone who wears their heart on their sleeve. You know, you might have thought that they were like a Cancer. They got Cancer in their chart somewhere. Very much like lover boy, lover girl type of vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like someone who would really like fit the bill, like despite their faults. It's like someone who you feel would like fit the bill of, you know, like a partner that you would want to be with. However, in reality, this person is a barren wasteland of emotions, very self-centered, very emotionally manipulative. So when it comes to them with other people, not just romantically, it's, you know, always kind of like a vacuum. That's the word, vampire. Yeah, it would be someone who's very much, my guys are on one today. They're giving me like lots of you know, adjectives and nouns, you know what I mean? But anyway, it's very much like an energy vampire in a sense. It's like, and it's interesting how this happens. And I'm obsessed with vampires, by the way. I'm actually writing a piece on vampires, but not like, you know, fiction or anything like that. It's actually like, it's psychological and, you know, moving right along. But enough about me and my think pieces. But with the energy vampirism, it does very much follow a vibe like this. Because if you think about like anything you've ever watched on vampires, like any TV show, any movie, vampires are always very beautiful and they're, you know, seducers, and thinking about the fact that, you know, they're turning your head to the side to slowly and, you know, bite your neck and all the things. All of that is elements of like seduction, right? Looking at how this energy is with you guys overall, there's not much talking or conversation that's going on, but it's like, you know, the energy is intoxicating. You know, if we were to go as far as, I don't know how true it is with the strength in the reverse of their perception of you, but if you do feel like you just can't seem to hold yourself back from this person, there's like a magnetism that you can't seem to explain about them. It's almost like that lulls you in. And once you're in this secure place, it's vapid and shallow underneath it all, like there may be this thought that you're going to get to like, the juicy, yummy center. But what lies in where a juicy, yummy center would be is, a barren wasteland of emotions. Now, when we talk about this in the context of what this person would be projecting onto you, that's how they would be seeing you, is almost as if you're, emotionally unavailable, or you have, like I was saying with this King of Pentacles in the reverse, you have insecurities, you have low self-esteem, and I don't know why y'all's reading, Sag, is digging so deep. It's like it is getting into like topics that are very touchy topics. So I have to say, even more so, like, Sag, if you are a woman of a certain age, right? And I would say, in my opinion, I would say 35 plus. And that's just because, we hit geriatric pregnancy. I mean, if we were to get pregnant after 35, you're in geriatric pregnancy. So you're pretty much like, an elderly person giving birth, that's what science says, you know what I'm saying? But, and then just, the culture we live in today and how people feel about women as they're getting older. But if you're a person who's 35 plus, I would say, and you're single, and say if you don't have any children, and I feel that specifically for that, I don't necessarily feel that this particular message I'm getting would relate to someone who does have kids. Like if your kids are adults or teenagers or whatever, I don't feel that this is a message for you all. But in reference to this person, if you're over 35 and you don't have children, it's like this person it goes back to this whole thing. This is very touchy for me because I'm like, this is such a touchy subject matter. But it's almost like this person seeing you from this perspective of you being excited about them, but feeling like that's really motivated by the fact that, you're older and she wants to, be married and have kids and like all the things or whatever. So almost like, and like I said, the word desperate, it's like them seeing that from, oh God, that's like a whole thing. So if this person, if they're younger than you, or not as established as you are, Sag, and I mean, if they're not that smart, you know what I'm saying? If this person fits any of that category, the perspective that I'm getting is more or less in this person's head, they feel like they're far beneath your caliber and you're like above their caliber. But you being interested in them is like, oh, like they're desperate. Their biological clock is like ticking or whatever. And that's why she's dealing with someone like me. But the thing I don't like about that is there's a power dynamic with this, and the fact that this person would be in the category of emotionally unavailable. And I don't know if this is something you're aware of or not. I don't know if it's that you're lust drunk with this person and you're not really paying attention to that. Like I said, if you want nothing from this, then that really doesn't matter. But if you would want this to turn into something, that's a bit of an issue, because it's kind of like getting yourself linked in with the absolute wrong type of person, like a person who wouldn't be good for your mental health type of deal, because this would be a very one-sided type of thing if it wasn't someone who would just completely disappear. You know what I'm saying? Like when they get kind of bored with things, them just completely retreating in totality. So I feel like what the warning is I'm really giving to Sag here is I feel Sag's perception of this connection with this person is vastly different, like even regardless of what it is that they think and feel. I feel Sag's perception of what it is that you believe is happening, like what's actually happening, is very far removed. You know what I mean? Because I feel what this would feel like potentially is great person. You meet them, you guys have chemistry, the sex is bomb. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just, going with the flow, enjoying myself. We're drinking, whiskey neats every night. You know what I mean? And just kind of going with the vibe, and having the perception of this person as if this is kind of growing and leading to something, and it's not, you know, even in the sense of Sag having thoughts of with this person not being on your level. And I hate to say that because I feel like that sounds so pretentious to say that. But with this person not being like on your level or the type of person you would usually date, it's like you being aware of that, but it's like, oh, they're a nice person. Like, I'm not gonna hold them to that standard, like just because, he's between jobs and, I don't know, digging ditches on the weekends, like I should give the guy a chance. He's a nice guy. He has great conversation. So it's like you having those thoughts, but it's almost like a rationalization, but all of this energy of the lustiness and the swept off the feetness and all of that stuff, that's kind of setting you up for the okey doke. You feel what I'm saying? And I can't remember. I really wish I could remember what sign this was. Those of you who are watching, because I know a lot of my subbies literally watch all 12 of these, whether they're in your chart or not. If you guys remember what sign that was, if you could please put it in the comments. And if you're super nice, put the link to it, because I cannot remember what sign that was. I know the day before it was Capricorn, I think Virgo, but I can't remember what the other sign was that I did. But it's like that keeps ringing back in my head because it's very similar. So if you guys know what reading I'm talking about, please put that in the comments. I think the person of interest card was the Emperor in the reverse, if I'm not mistaken. But please put that in the comments. I appreciate you. I love your face. But their feelings towards you. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this. We have the Magician in the feeling space. So I will say this. You know how I said that potentially this person wanting to be with you or them just like ghosting? I would say with this Magician coming out, the likelihood of them ghosting you, I would say, has decreased a great deal, because the Magician is all about courtship. So this person's feelings towards you is a desire for the two of you to be an item. Now, where that becomes an issue is that's going back to that whole vampirism thing that I was saying is, and it would literally, if I could be honest, it would be love bombing, right? Because if you think about, if you meet a person and it's like, sexy time, crazy energy, all of the things, right? And that's the whole first half of the relationship. But you guys aren't having real conversations. We're not setting expectations or, what I'm looking for, none of that. We're not having those conversations, but we're solely going off of what it is that I'm feeling, right? This may be Pisces, because I'm remembering I was telling a story about my guy best friend and my Pisces reading, and he was talking about like guys that he dates and like how he looks for like that chemistry type of thing. It might be Pisces I was talking about. But anyway, but this is kind of reminding me of that, of if you're just solely going off of chemistry, because I know to a lot of people, chemistry is important. That's what he was telling me. He's like, there's never been a guy that I've ever dated. And it's like been, at first there was no chemistry, and over time, suddenly chemistry built, right? I get that. Majority of the people that I've talked to in my career feel the same way. It's wanting to have that spark. It's wanting to have that instantaneous chemistry. But the key is, if we're going just off of that alone, it's like you can end up falling into, gosh, this is feeling like Pop the Balloon guy all over again. That's the third time this has come up this month. But literally, you can fall into a relationship with a person where suddenly this person is like living in your house. Like it goes from you guys going on a couple of dates to now like this person is leaving stuff at your house and practically living there. And you have no idea about this person's past, if they have side children somewhere. that they've not had gainful employment in the last 10 years, because all of these conversations were not had, right? Now, with this magician, that's concerning for me because, like I said, what lies beneath all of this with this Empress in the reverse, everything that this person would ultimately accuse you of being, or negative things that they would point out about you, this is all the truth about this person, right? But that falls into the realm of like narcissistic behavior, where you're in a relationship with a person and they're gaslighting the piss out of you to where nothing that you ever do is right. Everything that you do is wrong. Anytime you're asking for something, they're flipping the script on you. And it's like, well, don't you think it's unfair that you did this to me? And I never asked for this. You never said up front this and that. Or if they're a gallivanter, right? It's like, well, you knew who I was. You knew what type of person I was. You never told me that you didn't want an open relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like really flipping the script on you. But this person's feelings, they're wanting to connect with you. I'm hella concerned about that, especially if there's a financial difference between the two of you. Like I was saying, Sag, if you guys are established, like you have your own place, doesn't matter if you own it or not, but you got a roof over your head, you have your own car, you have like gainful employment and, consistent money coming in, and this person is in a position where they don't have those things, it's almost like this person would be coming in almost as like a leech. You know what I'm saying? And even looking back at this Wheel of Fortune, you feeling like it's a win, or their perception of you rather, them feeling like, you're seeing them as a win because it's a person that you're meeting, right? But for them, they're seeing it as a potential windfall for them. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like they're seeing stability and security, right? But a person who's getting stability and security at your expense, it's almost like if I were to look at all of this, dude, and really sum this up, this is like a person who sees your vulnerability and extorts it. You know what I'm saying? Like a person seeing someone who's of certain age, that's been single for a while, that doesn't have children, knows that, or even for those of you, because I'm pretty sure all of you guys know about this, this would be like the makings of like a Risa Tisa situation. And I know like majority of you guys have probably watched the whole TikTok story, happened a while back. But if you go back to that story, not literally go back and watch the whole thing, but what you remember about it, of when she was talking about how she ended up in the situation that she was in, that she came to a place thinking like, when is it going to be my turn, right? Of her wanting to settle down, her wanting to be married, have a partner, wanting to have a baby because, she worked and she got to a stable place. And it's like, now it's time for me to be in love, right? It's like this reading would be for like a Sag that is in that kind of space in life. And it's like crossing paths with a freaking legion. Like this is literally what this looks like to me. It's like crossing paths with a legion and this person showing up at the right time and you really being in that vulnerable place of like, maybe it is my time, and you have that chemistry and, like all the things she said about, oh boy, he's opening doors and bought a tire for a car. It's like they're saying all the right things and doing all the right things, but it's not like checking the facts. Like all of the things that she did in the latter part of the relationship were all of the things that should have been done in the former part of the relationship. Thank you, Risa Tisa. Shout out to you, homegirl, because that literally just sums up this whole reading. Everything she did in the latter part of that relationship is everything that should have been due diligence that was done in the very beginning. But like I was saying before, it's people getting caught up in that whirlwind of emotion and the chemistry and the feelings. And as I always say, when someone sweeps you off your feet, you're no longer grounded and you end up falling for the okie doke, right? You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel with this person that their intentions are pure. You know what I'm saying? So Sag, I mean, like I said, if you just smushing this person, then disregard everything I said because you ain't invested anyway. But in the event that you are, at the very least, start listening, start asking questions with this person. Do a background check because, Google searches these days ain't worth nothing, right? Do a background check, and actually get answers to questions about this person. Don't be afraid to rock the boat by, asking questions, because any person who gets hella defensive about you asking questions about their life, that is a red flag, especially when you're dating someone. So my advice is just be cautious, be careful, don't get, D word dizzy, as my young people say, do your due diligence and realize who it is that you're actually dealing with. Now I'm going to throw my dice because I've been throwing them for everyone. See what other signs come out. Oh, good Lord. Oh, that's creepy. That's really creepy. I feel like I have to show this to you. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it. Aquarius, I don't know if y'all are going to be able to see it. Aquarius came out 2 times on both die. It's Aquarius. Child, I'm a little weirded out by that. Especially on how Aquarius reading went. That would be weird if I was talking about Aquarius this whole time. I mean, Leo was pretty strong too. I don't know if I said Aries with the Magician, but Aquarius came up twice. And I mean, the chances of that hasn't happened yet for anyone, that the same sign came up twice. So if this is an Aquarius, let me know in the comments. I'm gonna be very spooked out. You should probably check out the Aquarius route. That was something. Ha! If this is Aquarius, I'm really gonna be creeped out. Anyway, maybe you have that in your chart. I don't know. That's been your connection session for the month. What just happened? What? I don't know what just happened. But anyway, that's been your connection session for the month of July, Sagittarius. I'm frazzled. I love your freaking face. And I will see you guys sooner than later, my friends. Be weirded out if this is an Aquarius. I mean it. Like really weirded out. Still tell me in the